Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hopefully you slept well, had some great breakfast. I heard some of you went to yoga early this morning. That wasn't me. I woke up late, grabbed some extra coffee. We've got a great second day. We'll wait just to get the last few people coming into the room. I thought yesterday was amazing. I loved hearing so many stories about leadership transformation, some of the struggles that you all are going through as leaders, and sharing your experiences, finding what's working and what's not working. Today, we're going to kick things off with an incredible story about leadership, about resilience. I'm so excited to introduce you to Dr. Ilknur Colak, CTO at Schneider Electric. She's going to take us somewhere that some of us have never been. I was talking to her early this morning. This is not something that I'm going to do, but I love hearing how she's conquered the 7 summits. She's going to share leadership lessons from this, about resilience, about pushing through, and really getting to what you can do. So Dr. Colak, please join us on stage.
Thank you, Neha. May 18, 2025. I stood on the top of the world, the summit of Mount Everest. It is a place where you see the whole horizon, the world is curving, and all those mountains, 8,000 meter mountains, once they look unbelievably high, they look so tiny, so small. With that final step, I finished my 7 summit project once it looked unbelievably distant. But at that moment, it was not about the glory, it was not about the trump, it was not about conquering a mountain. It was everything behind it. Many years of planning, preparation, dedication, hard work, doubt sometimes, and the people, the love and the support of the people in my life, who sometimes didn't even understand why I am doing this. So when I came back from Everest, I went to visit my parents, and I was showing them the photos and the videos. A few of them you will see today. And when we were going through the videos, my mom started, her motherhood complaints. Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? What did I do wrong while I was raising you? I think some of you can relate, right? I stopped the video. I said, Mom, do you remember what were you doing 1 month ago on Saturday? She said, no. I pressed, do you remember what were you doing last Saturday? She thought a few more seconds. She said, not really. I said, you may not remember what you watched on Netflix last night, but I will remember for the rest of my life what I was doing on May 18 at 8:30. My name is Ilknur Colak. I work at Schneider as CTO, and today we are going to talk about the summits on the top of the mountains, and the summits in our organizations. One word, impossible. We use it very often, and often we use it in a wrong way. When you look at the word itself, it's not a maths problem, it's not a physics problem. Quite often, it's a belief problem, it's a purpose problem, it is a commitment problem, and it's a consistency problem. So many years ago, I joined to a company or a research center where more than 10,000 people are working in that organization. And there was an ongoing project for the last 3 years. And within those 3 years, they produced only papers and reports, nothing more than that. Only 1 year left to complete the project, and everyone was saying, this is impossible. There is no way to finish this. So I teamed up 5 people. We start working day and night for this project. And 2 months before the delivery, we turned underground, forgotten hangar into a laboratory. And that laboratory became my home for those 2 months. I was not going home. I was sleeping, showering, and eating and working in that place. And then 2 days left, 48 hours. Now impossible became a maths problem. Everything was lying around and nothing was complete. There was no way that we finish what you see here in those 48 hours and deliver it. What I did was a little bit unorthodox. I went to different laboratories and I start asking people if they can help us. Physicists, biologists, chemistry engineers. Everyone who has nothing to do with power electronics, no knowledge in the domain, but they knew one thing: hard work, teamwork. So I collected together more than 40 people. And then I was like, first thing I did, explaining people what we are doing and why we are doing this and how they will contribute in this picture. So I was going to one guy, okay, here are the cables, that is how you will cut them. And this is a drilling machine, this is how you will use it to open a hole in the bus bar. These are the enclosure pieces, this is how you will assemble it, and so on. People were energized. I cannot describe you the environment. Everyone was running around trying to put the things together and then coming back, hey Ilk, I finished this, what shall I do next? So 48 hours, nobody went home and nobody rested. We finished everything. We loaded the system to be sent to Italy. These grown-up people, they were jumping around. They were hugging each other. They were clapping. And some of them had tears in their eyes. One of them might be me, I have to admit. And I was only 21 years old that time. And the people, 40 plus people, they were at least twice of my age. So this experience, or this project showed me that age, gender, all those things are just parameters. As leader, the first thing you need to do is to explain the belief, to show them why we are doing what we are doing. In the mountains, we say one thing: mountains don't create the character. The storm reveals it. The storm shows you what you are really, truly made of. So in business, we say the leaders are not defined in sunshine. They are defined during how they operate during the blizzards. If you believe in something, if you commit to it, and if you convey the message to your people, they will follow. Because at the end of the day, the purpose energizes people more than any bonus will ever do. 2017, I was climbing Mount Elbrus, the highest point in Russia, just to give you a little bit of glimpse how the typical day in the mountain looks like. This is how you wake up in the morning. So summit night, at midnight, we woke up. We were going for the summit push. Crazy storm, and we asked to our guide, is it the right time, to go to summit push because we have crazy storm? He was not a well-trained person. He said, oh, don't worry, it will get better. The storm got worse and worse and worse, and the visibility decreased to 0. I was right behind the guide, but I couldn't see more than 50 centimeters, so I was hardly following him. So we managed to get to the summit somehow. We didn't even look like human beings anymore. We had frostbites everywhere. My face was full of all sorts of things. Some part was purple. But when we were going down, we were exhausted, hungry, without water and food. I started sliding down from the cliff. And the first thing I did, I belayed myself with the ice axe. And then I was trying to hit to the ice wall with my crampons, but the fresh snow was so thick. I was trying again. The more I was trying, the more I was sliding down. And when you are in that altitude and when you do so fast movement, there is lack of oxygen, of course, you black out. That is what happened to me. For a split second, I couldn't see. Everything was just black. When I opened my eyes, I'm like, oh, I'm hanging on the side of a cliff, and if I don't do anything, I'm gonna die here. Nobody will come and rescue me from here. So I had sudden adrenaline push. I'm like, I'm not gonna die here. I am not gonna die here. So I start climbing back all those 50 meters. Don't ask me how. And then I managed to find the rest of the team. I joined to them. But the story wasn't over there. We had a team member, David. He started hallucinating. He was like, Ilk, did you see the coffee shop there? Did you have coffee there? I'm talking about endless white. We are on the top of the mountain. There is nothing there. Definitely not a coffee shop, right? And then a couple of seconds later, David collapsed. He fainted on me, and I had to now not carry only myself in that blizzard. I have to carry also David. So I start calling my team members, and I was asking for help. So we teamed up. We start carrying David together. One was holding the leg and the arm and so on. And then every time we were getting tired, we were rotating because you are in a very, very harsh conditions. So we came back that night after 17 hours of terrible storm, and we all had frostbites and a lot of other issues. But nobody celebrated reaching to the summit. We celebrated one thing quietly, coming back together as a team. In business, sometimes visibility will decrease to zero. Your roadmap will disappear. You need to remain calm, and you need to sometimes rescue yourself and your team, and also, work when the world is shaking around you. And as leaders, you need to remember one thing. The success is not about reaching the summit. Success is bringing all the teams safely together. So right before, in 2016, I was hired in a company. They had mechanical background, but they wanted to go to power electronics domain. They had the vision, but they didn't have the background to do it. So they hired me to create this department for them. So the first thing is I created the roadmap, I created the budget and the milestones, project planning and everything. So I showed the plan to our stakeholders. There was a deep silence. Then CTO talk, he said, "We are talking about tens of people and double-digit million euro." I said, "Yes, that is the required effort if you want to get there." So we had a couple of back and forth. I was trying to explain them why we need certain resources, certain budget and effort to get there. I broke it down into smaller pieces and so on. But then I stood back and I was like, we are talking about different languages here. Because these people, they have mechanical background, and now they are trying to enter to a different market, tier 1 market, and I need to speak with their language. So they are telling me I am hungry, I'm giving them a big elephant, and I'm telling them, eat it, but there's no way that they can digest it. So I need to chop it into smaller pieces to make it digestible for them. So we did a couple of iterations. They were getting there, but they were not there yet. So I did, again, something a little bit unconventional. I wrote a long email to our board members. I said, look, you are going to a car dealer, and you are telling them that I want to buy a Jaguar, and this is my budget. And then they are telling you, oh, with that budget, I can give you a tire. So when you get the tire, will you be a tire owner, or will you be a Jaguar owner? So let's make one thing clear. Do you want to go from A to B? If so, then Fiat will do the job. Or do you want to become a Jaguar owner? Because this is the most precious technology today in the market. And if you want to get there, you cannot do it halfway done. You need to be fully in. So the next day, I was expecting that, okay, here is your package. You need to leave the company. But the next day, I received a short message saying that you get the budget, get it done. It was a very bold move. But I learned one thing, or it remained with me. Your technical expertise will earn the credibility. But sometimes you need to have the courage to create the transformation in the organization. As CTOs or leaders here, your job is not only to develop technical knowledge or the products. Your responsibility is also to turn the complexity into clarity, to create vision, and also to turn the vision into architectures. And sometimes you need to be also bold to say that this cannot be done halfway. So right before COVID, I went to Karstens Pyramid, the highest point in Oceania. So this place this is a very technical mountain, but when we arrived there, we realized that actually there's an ongoing domestic war which is not visible to outside world. So we were trapped in a small place. There were big walls. Right behind the walls, a big war was going on. People were slaughtering each other. And then the charter flight that we were supposed to take from Timika, it was shut. And then later on, we wanted to take the trucks with the miners, and they were also shooting those trucks. And eventually, our guide, he bribed the government. We got 2 pilots from New Zealand, and we managed to get to the base of the mountain. So in the meantime, our guide and the organizer, they had a fight, and the guide decided not to join us. So we were completely alone, 7 people in the middle of nowhere. There was no guide, absolutely nothing there. So I'm talking about a mountain where, it's very technical. You need to have rock climbing, and you have to be in the storms and rain. And then you are going through all the jungles and you fell into the rocks, and it is completely a madness place. It's like Indiana Jones area. And then the guide said, here is the mountain. Go and climb it if you want to climb. So I had to take the challenge. Otherwise, nobody else would be bringing me to the top of the mountain. So I climbed alone to that mountain. But again, the story was not over there. When we were going down, we had to go through, all these jungles and the rivers and so on. There's absolutely no path. You need to create your path. And we didn't have food for 2 days. No food. So I had only 1 chocolate bar, and I had to strategize it every day. Every 2 hours, I was having a small bite just to keep going. And you are carrying massive, load with you. There is no porter or anything. And you are going 25, 30 kilometers per day. Again, it's not walking in the park. You are climbing. It's a technical climb. We saw, in the middle of jungle, we saw a tribe, a cannibal tribe. They don't eat people randomly. They ask their permission. So I can tell you more about it in the break. So when they saw me, the only woman in the group, they came and they were touching to my skin just to, analyze me, or they were curious, I think, and I had to stay calm. They had this big machetes, in their hand. And then that night we stayed with them. They gave us food, basically sweet potato. And then when I was putting up my tent, these 10 big guys with their machetes, they were just circling around my tent. I was not so sure if they want to eat me or if they want to guard me. But I was thinking if they want to eat me, there are bigger guys in the team, probably they will start first with them. So that time, I learned that you may not have always, perfect conditions to get started. You may not have always, permanent guidance. And you may not have always resources to continue. You need to strategize. And you shouldn't also let the fear to dictate your decisions. If I wouldn't climb that year, I had to wait at least for another 6 years to get there. It is a really, really difficult place to get, and to get the permission also. That year, we were the only team who managed to get to the summit. And only end of last year, they opened it back again. So I joined a company, and I found myself in an ongoing program. Every week or every 2 weeks, we were meeting, and mostly VPs and SVPs were getting together, 15 to 20 people. In the beginning, it was quite interesting. I was learning about who is doing what and so on. But me being me, I cannot keep quiet. I start asking questions. What did we develop in this program? Oh, nothing yet. What are we going to develop? Oh, we will figure it out. How long are we doing these meetings? Oh, 2 years. I was getting crazy. 2 years and no outcome. So I said, okay, I have to do a calculation here. I calculated, so about 2 million euro we were spending for inaction, 2 million. At the same time, I was pitching an idea to the customers and also to our stakeholders about a disruptive technology. And the first EVP told me, look, we don't do this kind of organic growth for this kind of technologies. If you want to have this, you need to go and buy a company. The second one told me, you should stop insisting on this one. If you continue, you will get fired. Again, me being me, I don't take answer as no. I keep going. And then I needed one believer. One believer is enough for you to get started. And I found one believer. I explained what we need to do, why we need to do it, and how we can make a difference in the market, and why us, and why now. So, at the same time, I used this other project. I said, look, don't be scared. We already spent half the money for inaction. I think if you put there a little bit more money, I will give you a product. So today, we turned this idea into a whole new department. So if I would let these comments to intimidate me, today we would have nothing. So what changed? Not the organization, not the market, not the technology, but the mindset has changed. I had to step back, think and reflect, and then tell the people what we need to do. So basically, we stopped meeting to discuss about the feature. We started to create one. Mount Everest. It takes about 2.5 months to complete the whole circle or whole rotation. As if it is not difficult enough, I wanted to do something extraordinary. So I wanted to decrease the time to less than half, which is called speedy ascent. So if you want to do speedy ascent, you need to do certain preparation, which is called acclimatization. So what you see here in this picture on the upper photo, I'm using the oxygen mask at home to simulate the certain altitude at home. But you need to do like between 500 hours to 1,000 hours to get the proper acclimatization and to start creating the enough red cell in your body. But because of my working style or lifestyle, so I was able to do only 50 to 60 hours. I got to the mountain, certain high altitude, and I joined to the rest of the team. They were already in the mountain for a month. They did all the acclimatization. They did also their first rotation. If you don't know what is rotation is you start from base camp, you go to certain altitude, you spend some time there, you come back, you rest. You go higher altitude, you spend some time, you come back. So you need to do this multiple times to get the proper acclimatization. Otherwise, you will be dead. So we were trying to go for the first rotation. And then we start at midnight. We reach to the kind of beginning, starting point of the Kumbu icefall. And then 200 meters area collapsed completely. Maybe you heard it in the media. It was quite a big thing. And then they were like, going back, we are going back, you need to return back. So we came back to base camp. We had to wait for 2 days because the ice doctors, that is what they are called, they had to fix a new route for us. So I was getting very nervous. I was way behind everyone. I didn't do any acclimatization. I didn't do a rotation. And then there was a very short weather window. Normally you have like 2-3 days to reach the summit. The second time, 2 nights later, we started again. This time we were in the 1/3 of the Kumbu icefall. We were hit by an avalanche. And then we had to go back. You can imagine my mood. I start really having self-doubt. I was thinking, okay, this is it. I am going to die here. So 3rd time charm. A few days later, we crossed the Kumbu icefall. But the whole mountain was trying to, cross the Kumbu icefall because everyone was waiting for that moment. So we had a crazy traffic. So I had to wait behind everyone. And it was way too slow for my speed because I know my heart rate. I know what sort of, clothes I need to wear. So when I reached to Camp 1, I was completely destroyed. I was coughing like crazy. I was so cold. And then my guide told me, hey, maybe it is time to go back because you are really sick. I am not a quitter. I said, no, I am not quitting. I will keep going. The next day we reached to Camp 2. My coughing gets worse and I start coughing blood. Again, they were like, okay, now it is time. We need to bring you back. And Camp 2 is the last point where the helicopters can come. After that, they cannot rescue you. You are kind of on your own. I'm like, no, I am not quitting. So I kept going a little bit higher towards Camp 3, and then I spent in total 7 days. I came back. Normally, when you come to lower altitude, your symptoms get better, but you are still at 5,300 meters, right? You are not fully recovered. At the same time, the base camp was like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everyone was getting sick. Everyone was leaving the mountain one after another. Per day, we were getting maybe like 10 helicopters to rescue people. It was so devastating. And I think we had also the highest record of people getting sick. At least 500 people got extremely sick that season. And I was thinking, okay, I have only 3 days left, and I have only this weather window. Either I climb or I have to quit. So how can I accelerate my recovery? There is only one way. You need to go back. You need to step back. You need to reset. You need to re-energize. So I went all the way down to Kathmandu. I had proper shower, or I had shower. I had food, proper food. I had bed, so I could recover. I could re-energize, and also mentally I could get better. So after those 3 days, when I came back to base camp, I was completely a different person. I said, I got this. I will climb to this mountain. I have everything. I did many years of training. I am physically ready, and I am mentally ready. Now I got this, one step at a time. So if you are curious, I can show you. This is from the Hillary step, like about roughly 45 minutes before the summit. And you see I was not lying. The world horizon is curving. You see it there. And this is a good weather, by the way. Perfect weather. And this is at the top. So it is quite a tiny area, and we have like crazy wind coming. So you see the people who are coming from the Tibet side and from the Nepal side, and also the other side is the Tibet side. So you meet in the middle. It's super tiny area. So you need to be super careful to stand up there. But climbing the mountain is extremely challenging, but standing up there is even more difficult. I think you can also relate, right? So in your career, going up is very tough, very difficult. It requires a lot of discipline and preparation. But standing there, above the clouds is getting even more difficult. So in the mountains, the weather can change in any instant. It can be so harsh, so brutal, and it is completely unpredictable. One little movement, wrong movement, or one's wrong decision is enough to kill you. Today we are living in a similar world, where we have geopolitical tension, we have crazy acceleration on AI, we have economical uncertainty. So the conditions are quite similar to the mountains. But this is the environment where true leaders are born, right? So you may not have always guidance or leadership. In that case, become one. If there is uncertainty around you, create clarity. If you have fear in your organization, as a leader, reflect calm. And if there is chaos, then create purpose. There will be people in your life, they will come and tell you, but this is impossible. There is no way to do that. Just smile and tell them that impossible is waiting for its leader, who has purpose, who has commitment, who has conviction to get it done. So now I want you to do something for me. Could you please look at the person on your right? Could you please look at the person on your left? Yes, you are looking at the leader who will turn that impossible into possible, whatever your Everest is. Thank you. Good question. It doesn't mean that you don't push enough. The question is, are we all aware of our limits? Do you know what are you capable of doing? How much more you can go? When I started, climbing the mountains, this was an idea, this was my childhood dream, but I didn't know how far I can go. I promised myself one thing: when I come to my limits, I will stop, because I want to do this again, and I have people at home that, like they are waiting for me. So in your career, it is the same thing. You need to know how much you need to push, and when to stop, when to reflect, and look at the whole picture. I think someone was asking what is the toughest mountain I climbed. They were all different. So in terms of real mountains, I think Alaska was very challenging. Everest was definitely very challenging. So they were all challenging in a different way. And in career, I think I always say that, like leading a technology, you can always create a guideline for it. You can also create a guideline, like to lead the team and to hire the perfect team and to lead the team. But I think what is more challenging is, like navigating, between uncertainty and so on. And also you don't know what is happening in people's life and what is in their mind. You cannot read people's mind. And you need to strategize, yourself. Maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe that's how he's talking today. Or, maybe you need to sometimes keep distance if there's a toxic environment, around you. I think we come to the end of the...
Maybe we'll take one more question.
Sure. Why did you climb the mountains? I didn't get time off, basically. So I trained every day. So you don't get it in one time, right? So every day religiously I trained. I said, okay, between this and this time, it is my training time. I am not taking meetings. Typically it was between 7 to 9 p.m. in the evenings. And when it comes to taking this long time to climb the mountain, I saved all my holidays, and I had agreement with the company saying that, okay, I'm not taking holidays, for instance, the entire year. And I work also on the weekends and so on, so I used the all accumulated time for it. But I did all the preparation before I left, I have to be honest. So I delegated all the work and explained what they need to do during my absence. So it was all about, planning and preparation. Thank you for your attention and for joining me today.